my my answer is why not? But traditionally, the Black church has stood for several things. It's a place of worship, it's a center for community, catalyst for social and political change within our African American community. And it's also a place where we find soul and spiritual guidance, a sense of belonging. And then we engage in activism and advocating for justice. And often as a church, we leave that part out. But it's a safe space for us. And the word teaches us that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And when I go back to my own life, it was about 1965. I was just 12 years old when I had my first puff of a cigarette. Yes, me. And we were in Southern California. We were visiting some of my relatives, and they said, "Hey, let's go to the library." My parents said, "Sure, smart kids, they're going to the library." But when we got there, they invited me to climb a tree, and up in the tree, I had my first puff. And that cigarette burned my chest so bad, I vowed never again. But then next year, my brother said, "I'm going to teach you how to smoke." And I thought it was so cool, watching people blow smoke into the air, these circles. And nobody ever talked about cigarette smoking in the church. You'd hear that it was a sin, but that was about it. There was no education about it. And so when you think about the Black church, we hold our baby dedications when a child is born. We hold our funerals when somebody dies. But what about the life that goes on in between that time of space? And what happens? Why don't we talk about cigarette and its effect? And I found out some of the statistics that kids start smoking at the age of as early as 5 years old. And when I think about my 5-year-old grandchildren and somebody influencing them to smoke, it kind of astonishes me. But one of the things that I found out after joining the Soul Project, I was talking to some of my kids and I told them, "Hey, tell me about cigarette smoking." And they started showing me some of the paraphernalia that they use for vaping. And you think your kid has a flash drive in their hand and they're getting ready to get on the computer, but it's actually something that they're using to vape. Or it's in the shape of an ink pen. Just all these things that the big companies have used to target our kids, and they're flavoring them, and we are uninformed. And the church is a safe place where people trust what happens there. And so we need to begin. We talk about breaking strongholds. Well, that's a stronghold. And we have to start teaching about its harmful effect. And I started working with the Tobacco Coalition maybe 30 years ago with Pastor Sherwood Carton, and we co-authored a book back then. But it was during that time I remember, and I'll never forget, that they were offering mini grants. And we had a $500 mini grant that I was using for our youth group. And we decided I came up with this idea to have the death of a cigarette. So I went to Morgan and Jones and they lent me a casket. And one of my friends, Franzel Truitt, made this giant cardboard cigarette and we put it in the casket. And that night there were about 400 to 500 kids in the room. My son, Les, used to lead the youth group. And this was all impromptu. We had not planned it. And there was a young man, Kelvin Truitt. He was about 12 or 13. And I told him, "Okay, you're going to preach the eulogy for the cigarette." And he said, "Okay." And he got up there and he started preaching about how the cigarette had died and how it had caused so many other deaths. And he said, "We're going to get up and view the remains. And when he got up, the kids started walking around viewing the cigarette, and those kids started pulling weed and cigarette lighters and cigarettes and throwing them into the casket. And it was just such a touching thing. And most of those kids, we could say that they sincerely never smoked after that night. And so for me, it was a powerful move of God. So why not the church? Why not? Why shouldn't we get in there and decide that we're going to do something? And I want you to know that I am 100% in and giving out information and standing true to that scripture where it says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge," that I will get the information out to the people that we affect in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Simmons. The death of a cigarette, and surely remember Bishop Carthen.
Yeah,
Wow. Been working on this for a long time to save our people. Thank
yeah.
you so much for the testimony. So now we're actually going to come back to Camille Cummings. And Camille is actually going to speak on No Menthol Sunday from a national and regional level.
Hello again, everyone. Thank you, Pastor Simmons, for um, those stories. That was, that's what No Menthol Sunday is all about. So you kind of did my job for me. So I will, go through the script that I wrote out. But, you hit the nail right on the head. The tobacco industry specifically targets Black youth, and they do that through, flavors. They do that through marketing on social media. They know what Black youth like, so they based a lot of their marketing in stereotypes. And we always know that there is a little bit of truth to some of those stereotypes. So they know how to find us, and you know there are many teens who start smoking because they've seen an ad or because, the tobacco industry has released a flavor that is really enticing to them. So it's truly predatory. And I will just go through a little bit of the background of what No Menthol Sunday is. So No Menthol Sunday is an annual observance led by the Center for Black Health and Equity. They are based in North Carolina, and they have been a partner of the AATCLC's, that's the African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council, the organization that I work for. They have been in partnership for years. So every third Sunday in May, and this year it falls on May 18th, the Center for Black Health and Equity organizes a national push to encourage faith leaders, advocates, and communities across the nation to mobilize and educate the faith community about the devastating impact of menthol cigarettes, and push for change. So what we want to do is have everyone kind of get that spiel that Pastor Simmons just provided us. Because you are completely right. A lot of people just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Um, so No Menthol Sunday is really about reclaiming health, empowering communities, and clearing the way for future generations. Um, Pastor Simmons, you mentioned vapes. So a lot of people, no matter what age, gender, race, are not clear that vapes are just as harmful, if not more harmful, than cigarettes. So, for instance, I met a woman just over the weekend who I had actually met for the first time a year prior. And she was a person who smoked. And she said, after hearing all about the work that me and my colleagues did, that she got that extra um, uh, boost of energy and finally decided that she wanted to quit smoking. She's from St. Louis. She lives in California now. And when California banned menthol cigarettes, she was having her mother, who's in St. Louis, mail her menthol cigarettes. So she finally decided she's going to quit, and I was so proud of her. And she did say, yeah, but I am just going to vape
Mm.
to try to break the habit. And so, I didn't want to discourage her because she has taken that crucial step. But, vaping is just as bad, if not worse, um, than smoking what we call combustible cigarettes. Um, so we have to keep that in mind, and that's another reason that No Menthol Sunday is so important, because sometimes we can get so stuck in deciding ourselves what products are good and what products are bad. But we really need to take a step back and realize that the tobacco industry is using the same playbook that they used years prior, so they will always reinvent themselves. There is no safe alternative to smoking ever. It just doesn't exist. So, though vaping maybe has a few, and I don't even like to say that, smoking combustible cigarettes and vaping are both equally harmful, but we are very happy for this young woman who did decide to stop smoking combustible cigarettes. So just a little bit of background on menthol cigarettes. So menthol is the flavor, it's the minty flavor that you find in Newports, in Cools, and that is the flavor that is most addictive, and it is the flavor that is used most widely by Black smokers. 85% of people, of African Americans who smoke menthol cigarettes. Menthol cigarettes are extremely difficult to quit. It is easier to quit heroin than it is to quit a menthol cigarette. They are just, again, highly, highly addicting. Because menthol has that minty flavoring, it coats the throat, and it makes it much easier to start smoking. And so, Pastor Simmons, if you had a menthol cigarette when you took your first puff in that tree, your body was probably really, really excited. You get that instant buzz. And though you did cough and it was difficult, if you had smoked just regular tobacco without any menthol flavoring, it would have been much, 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 much worse.
Mm.
So, menthol is found in every single cigarette. They just have different levels. And so we at the African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council, the Soul Project, and the Center for Black Health and Equity are always pushing for a national ban on menthol cigarettes. The tobacco industry pushes back because cigarettes would not be palatable without the addition of menthol. No one would smoke because it would be so painful um,
Mm.
and so obvious that this is not something that you want to do again. So that's kind of the national overview. So the AATCLC has sued the FDA twice to ban the sale of menthol cigarettes. We have been able to make some movement, but unfortunately, under the Trump administration, that kind of work is unfortunately really at a halt. So it's really important to act at the local level. So there are certain cities across California who have banned the sale of mentholated tobacco products. And the state of California also has a statewide ban of mentholated tobacco products. The state of California also bans any other flavors. So, you should not be seeing flavored vapes sold anywhere. Um, the state of California, unfortunately, though, has exempted hookah. So their hookah is still very popular, unfortunately. Um, and and I'm losing my train of thought. I've done this presentation so many times. But essentially, yes, you should not be able to purchase mentholated cigarettes in California. You probably have seen what is called non-menthol mentholated tobacco products. And so that is the tobacco industry's kind of workaround to continue to sell, Newports and Cools. And even though there may technically be not any menthol in those products, there is a chemical compound that mimics the sensory impact that you feel when you smoke these products. So it doesn't have the mentholated chemical, but it does still coat the throat and make it much easier to smoke. So again, that's why it's very important to act on the local level. The state of California, unfortunately, did not include any enforcement mechanisms in the state law. So if you do see, Newports and other mentholated products or other flavored products out and about, that's because you know, this policy won't be enforced unless a jurisdiction has taken the extra step to dedicate a special pot of money for enforcement officers, whatever that city determines that looks like, to go and make sure that these stores are following the state law. So again, even though it's banned at the state level, we have a lot of policy work to do to make sure that everyone is following the rules. You may have also heard that, ending the sale of menthol or banning flavored tobacco products will hurt the Black community, that it will, open up Black teens to more interaction with the police. And I just want to reiterate that that is absolutely not true. The state law, as well as all of the policies that are passed at the local level, are written so that the any repercussion falls on the retailer. So no one has ever been arrested for the possession of mentholated tobacco products. I have seen several cases where a retailer is either fined or, someone goes to talk to them. But just to reiterate, again, the person who is purchasing those products is not impacted negatively in any way. All right. And so that's just a very brief overview of what is going on at the national level and what's going on in the state of California. There are also myths that the banning of menthol cigarettes will create a black market. That is another one that is absolutely not true. So evidence from countries like Canada shows that there's no significant illicit market after menthol bans. Removing menthol from the marketplace is a racial justice issue. It's a health equity issue, and it's about saving lives. So we would love for you all to participate in No Menthol Sunday if you can. It's a common misconception that a No Menthol Sunday activity has to take place on May 18th, but that is another one that is a myth. So you can host your own No Menthol Sunday at any time. We have fans available through our website. I believe Plachette is going to be getting a handful of those as well, so you can always reach out to me or Plachette to receive fans. The Soul Project has their own No Menthol Sunday Toolkit, which includes sample sermons. I believe it also includes sample posts that you all can post to Instagram and Facebook and any other social media that you're using. And these are just very encouraging affirmations that you can share with your congregation, either in person or virtually. The National No Menthol Sunday website is nomentholsunday.org. So that website is through the Center for Black Health and Equity. The California No Menthol Sunday website is housed on the AATCLC website, and I don't have the link in front of me right now, but I will make sure to put it in the chat. On that website, you can also find a toolkit tailored broadly to the state of California. And again, the Soul Project No Menthol Sunday toolkit will probably be a little bit more specific to Sacramento. And just before I close out, all of these toolkits will include resources that you'll need if you want to encourage your members of your congregation to quit smoking. So there are national quit lines that anyone can call into. If and when you call into these quit lines, you will be connected with a healthcare provider who may be able to provide you with quit smoking resources free of cost. We also have, culturally tailored cessation programs through Amplify, which is the African American Coordinating Center. I will share those resources with Plachette as well, even though I'm sure she has them on hand. And just to close out, this is really all about building relationships with policymakers and with our congregants to really build on that potential to end the sale of mentholated tobacco products, and then help our loved ones and our congregants, make the decision to, I hope, quit smoking and to find alternatives to stress release, which we know is a major problem in the Black community. So again, thank you so much for having me. I hope I answered a lot of your burning questions. If I did not, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to help.
Wow, thank you so much, Camille, for that. Camille is again from one of our valued partners, AATCLC and Amplify, as Soul Project stands as a partner in No Menthol Sunday, one of many partners with the Center for Black Health and Equity. And you gave such a thorough history and background on why we push for No Menthol Sunday, which is now what, 12, 15 years old, Camille?
I think it's about 10 years old. I think either
10
this
years old.
year or last
Okay.
year was the 10th anniversary.
Okay, we did have one comment from Pastor Robertson who said, so has nicotine been a scapegoat to a degree?
Um,
What would you say to that?
I would say yes. So, nicotine, there are really no health benefits to nicotine either. So nicotine decreases the amount of blood flow in your veins. So if I'm thinking about products like the oral nicotine pouches, it's great that that's not smokable tobacco, smokable nicotine, but it has extremely negative side effects. So I know the oral nicotine pouches are very popular among college students because they're marketed as a product that you can use to enhance your focus and clarity, and just kind of have a more pleasurable experience. And of course, they market that to people who want to stop smoking. Um, but it is not any better. The same companies that sell the combustible tobacco products are, selling these nicotine pouches. Um, I will just give you another example. Uh, our new federal, I'm blanking on the name of his position, but Kennedy, he loves them. So what does that tell you? In fact, I believe he was eating them during his whatever the questioning event was, before he was able to take the position. So those still get a thumbs down from me.
Did see two different hands raised if they're still interested in asking the question. One was Danetta, second was Dr. Joy. Dr. Joy, did you have a question? No. Danetta, did you have a question?
Yes, I would just like you to send out all the links in an email, like, after sometime later when you have time.
Absolutely. And this is being recorded, this meeting. So we'll definitely have it up on our YouTube channel as well. I see, Dr. Joy, that you unmuted yourself. Did you have a question? Okay. All right. Well, thanks again, Camille. We're going to go ahead and continue through our presentation. So next slide, as I noted that Soul Project is a one of many partners. With the Center for Black Health and Equity, we advocate for healthy, smoke-free communities for African Americans and all people or groups who suffer disproportionately as a result of social conditions and tobacco use. There are four members of the SOUL team. So you have myself, you have Kimberly Bankston Lee, who is our executive director. You also have Twyla Laster, who is a program director, and also my colleague, Valerie Scruggs, who is online today. She is the program director. And Valerie and we actually lead a few objectives where we're specifically are working on helping people to quit smoking, smoke-free multi-unit housing ordinance in Sacramento County, smoke-free outdoor areas. And those are the two that we're working on. And then we have our colleagues that are working on ending the sale of commercial tobacco. Next slide. So we did want to go ahead and just highlight some of the programs where we are having huge success. Our first one is the second annual Faith and Health Collaborative. First one was February of 2024. That's when we started. This is an annual event that unites faith leaders, community advocates, public health professionals, property managers, and public health officials to address critical health challenges affecting youth, families, and communities with a focus on tobacco-related issues. There are many folks who are on this particular meeting that attended the first Faith and Health Collaborative Luncheon, as well as the second one that was this year on March 24th. Then we have our second program where the soul presented at the NAN Sacramento Youth Huddle at Genesis Church in South Sacramento. We worked with youth on a poster activity addressing the dangers of smoking, vaping cigarettes, and marijuana. And then the third one, where Valerie and I are new to the Soul Project, but as of working specifically for the Soul Project as of spring of 2023. So this is our third go round on No Menthol Sunday, but our first year in working with champion again, Pastor Deborah Simmons last year, where and we also worked with Genesis Church Pastor Takoy Porter. And we kind of spread ourselves out, but as you can see, we had Pastor Simmons, and she actually spoke about No Menthol Sunday with specifically showing a slide, which we'd love for pastors on this call to think about sharing in this format, where we know that your congregation, they would love to take direction from you specifically if you are talking about No Menthol Sunday from the pulpit. And then in February of 2024, we had the opportunity again to have Pastor Deborah Simmons serve as our champion, and we introduced ourselves to the County Board of Supervisors with Pastor Simmons addressing the need for smoke-free housing. Next slide. So as you've heard at the very beginning, why we're here for No Menthol Sunday, it is a call to action highlighting the detrimental impact commercial menthol tobacco products have on the Black community. We all know tobacco is still our #1 killer of African Americans, teens, and Black people who smoke. Choose menthols because the minty flavor, as Camille emphasized in her presentation, because the minty flavor makes it easier to start smoking, but it also makes it harder to quit. And the theme, clearing the way, the theme changes every year, but this year is clearing the way. Next slide. The Soul Project did have an opportunity to interview a young married working father of one daughter about his quit journey, and we wanted to share that go ahead and share that with you at this time.
My name is Demario Brown. I'm a Sacramento resident, and I've been trying to quit smoking cigarettes since 2022. Probably had my first cigarette at 12 years old, just a kid, walking around the neighborhood, asked a guy for a cigarette, gave me one. I would say 15, I was full-fledged smoking cigarettes. not as heavy as I am now, but maybe like a pack every a week. My grandfather smoked, my mother, my stepfather. So it was pretty common thing. Uncles. Well, so when I met my wife, she introduced me to church, at church, and I fell in love with this church, fell in love with the congregation, and they started doing a fast through the church, and I thought it'd be as I'm starting to build my relationship with God, I thought it'd be a good time to put cigarettes down, alcohol, and so I went 21 days without smoking or drinking, and I went 2 years like that. No alcohol, no cigarettes. Well, afterwards, I was so much kind of like proud that I stopped smoking them. So it wasn't, they start stinking when I see other people smoking them. So the cravings was gone, and I'm like Bible studies, Sunday school, in the church. I was an usher. So in my spare time, I mean, you can smoke cigarettes all throughout whatever you're doing that day, but I just didn't have the urge to smoke. So um, go fishing, go to church, things like that.
All
I
right.
came back from my honeymoon, and some time went by, a little bit before I found out my mother was diagnosed with cancer. Yeah, she was smoking cigarettes at the time, and till you go through it, it's a tough thing to watch your mother, deteriorate in front of you. So it started as one cigarette with her, or and then it just, yeah. I'm spending about probably $100 every 2 weeks on cigarettes. They stink, and I'm a man too. I want to be naturally in control, and right now, cigarettes having control over me. Also, my daughter's getting older. I don't want her to be smelling cigarettes on me. So, what would I do if I wasn't smoking? I'd probably use that $100 on my wife. Yeah, yeah. So I also was in a dope basketball league, and trying to work out. You can tell that when you're trying to work out and smoking cigarettes, they don't go hand in hand. You know, from doing half a mile to doing 2 miles could be that difference because it puts pressure on your lungs. You're out of breath.
Right. So, at as we share that story, we encourage you on this meeting tonight. If you know of people who want to share their story with us, we'd be happy to interview them. Doesn't have to be a video. We can do an article interview with them, but we do want to hear from those people in your congregation or people who you know who have quit smoking or who are trying to quit smoking, because we really realize how important it is for people like us to hear from people like Demarie, who represent our community, how they are realizing how important it is to quit smoking to save Black lives. So we are going to go ahead and move on to our next slide of resources that are available. And as Camille talked about the different resources that are available, Kick It California does have a phone number that could be called in. It's a 1-800 line, 1-800-300-8086. There's also text quit smoking or quit vaping to 66819. And we definitely will be sending out all of the different links. The Health Justice Guide link documents the relationship between tobacco and African Americans. I've looked at this guide. It is a really informative guide, and I would encourage you all as faith-based leaders to really utilize the information in this justice guide. And we will make that link available as it covers the history of the tobacco industry and how it relates to today's context of predatory marketing, disinvested communities, and persistent racism. And then, of course, we have our social media graphics, which we've tailored. Some of them include scriptures that could be posted on your social media pages, Facebook and Instagram. And we've included several hashtags, not just the hashtag of No Menthol Sunday. Now we'll go ahead and switch over. Next slide. To sharing the No Menthol Toolkit and social media. The whole purpose of the social media post and the toolkit is to, of course, help smokers quit. You can also host an event at your church. You can share stories like I've talked about before, and you can promote on your social media pages. So we'll switch over to walking through the No Menthol Toolkit for this year's theme. Thank you, Valerie, so much. And thank you all for your patience. All right. So this is the cover page. The toolkit is a mini toolkit that has been shortened. The toolkit that is available on the national website of the Center for Black Health and Equity is about 20, maybe 24 pages long. So we did want to shorten the toolkit to meet the needs of churches in the Sacramento County. Next, let's go to page 2, which is a very brief description, which is on the purpose of No Menthol Sunday. And as we talked about that, every third Sunday in May, we engage the faith and community leaders to educate congregants about smoking, vaping, and the role of new menthol products and other flavors in initiating tobacco and addiction. Page 3 is all about preparing your service announcement. And there you can see Pastor Deborah Simmons. It gives a full description on how you would do that. You go to page 4, there is more on sermons and presentations. And if we go to page 5, this is all, it's a menthol facts sheet. There's more information on that. On information that we've already covered. And now if we go to page 6 is the resources. We just went over that. And then we will go on to page 7, which is the social media post where you can start promoting No Menthol Sunday from May 1st through May 18th. So we've actually given you the graphic where you can actually, we'll give you the link to the landing page on the Soul Project website, where you can download the graphics that you see here on page 7. We've also created a text post that you can just copy and paste with the hashtags on your Facebook page as well as your Instagram page. Let's go to page 8. So page 8 is another graphic that could be used to download. And then we wanted to also this year highlight some of our champion pastors that have been on board. And we're happy to do this customization for pastors who would like to submit their photo, and we would go ahead and create a quote for you, or you could, and a quote that you could actually edit. As you can see, this is a quote for Pastor Deborah Simmons. And then if we go, that's we included the link and also hashtags. And let's go to page 9, which is our last page. So we have a customized quote for Pastor Takoy Porter, and we have a customized quote with post text that's ready to go. It's so easy for Pastor Anthony Robertson. So again, you can go ahead and contact us directly if you would like a customized post for yourself to post during May 1st through May 18th. So we are coming to a close for our presentation today. Again, I want to thank you all so much. We have an evaluation survey that we'd love for you to complete. Let me see if we have that ready to drop in the chat. As you can see, No Menthol Sunday is May 18th, Sunday. And we have our information and education days at the state capitol. We do have some of the folks, some of our champion pastors who will be participating in that on May 27th and 28th. And then we have Breaking Free Day coming up on November 17th. And next slide. So we have come to the close of the presentation. Does anyone have any questions, concerns? Everybody's good? So if I send you a text and I'm telling you to share this, you're going to you're going to run to your Facebook page for the church or your personal page or your Instagram page, and you're going to post, right?
Yeah, we got somebody on it. Great presentation. Great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we want to thank you guys for being patient with us and making time in your schedules. We know time is of the essence. It's sunny outside, and it's actually 6:51 p.m. We finished before time. Did we not, Valerie?
We did. We are finishing on time. We actually had one other surprise, but I wanted to make sure that we got everybody's name in. We thank you for your time, and we are hoping that you will all participate in doing our activities. So one of the things we wanted to do was do a little raffle to give you some incentive for a gift card. It's just $25, but hopefully it will help you to do some activities at your church. And before I go ahead and do the spin, I want to make sure, is there anybody that I am missing? We had all of the participants. Pastor Joy, I think I might not have you on here.
I'm dropping the link for the participant survey. If you could please complete that for us, that would be great.
Okay. And so our lucky winner for this evening is Von Adam.
All right.
So
It goes to work and
congratulations.
everything.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will make sure that we email that to you. So we want to make sure we have your email. And then I think last but not least, I want to thank you all for your time. Is anyone thinking of things that they need, or if there's additional things that we can do? As you'll recall, Plachette said that we can make some customized posts for you. If you would like that for your bulletins, for your if you have audio visual so that you can put up screens in the church, or if you want to have some handouts or some speaking points. There will be fans available as well that you can distribute to the congregants. And if there are any other fact sheets on cessation, getting connected with KK California, please feel free to reach out to us. We're a resource here, and we want to make sure that you have the support that you need. And we would love for you to take photos and to post on social media, and to please send that to us after you do the videos. So after you do the activities. So with that, I think if I'm going to go ahead and put up the final slide that had the survey presentation on there. Evaluation is how we document what we're able to do. But we just thank you for all your help and your support, and wish you a great evening. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Enjoy your
Real
evening.
quick, just real quick, are we able to get some handouts like brochures? Because we're starting to put together more resources for our church. And
Yes.
we're going to be developing a resource library. So if you have like the hard copy brochures you can provide, we'd like some of those.
Okay,
Absolutely, we can get
I'll make
those.
those available.
And I also wanted to put up, if you need to reach us, you can always reach us. This is our general info at thesoulproject.com. But Plachette and Maya's emails are actually just our name, Valerie@thesoulproject.com and Plachette@thesoulproject.com. Or you can reach out to us via the phone number, and we will make sure that we get those resources for you directly. And we'll also have resources on our website that you can use. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right.
That's all. And hopefully we will talk with you soon. Take care.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.